Hello everyone, Draco's here. I'm creating this little video to go over the Swamps of Corsus and Subject DLC bosses. Just like the last video I made, it will go over the bosses of what they do, what the dungeons named leading up to the boss, and also what your reward is when you defeat said boss. I will also go over the alternate kills for the bosses if said boss has an alternate kill. Alright, let's jump right into it. So the first boss you can fight in the Swamps of Corsus DLC is the Unclean One. Oh, wait, this is the wrong footage. Hang on. I could've swore I had it around here somewhere. There you are. Ever since the Swamps of Corsus DLC came out, the Unclean One got his alternate kill. In order to get the alternate kill, you walk into the boss chamber. Do not trigger the boss fight upstairs. Instead, take a sharp right and go down the stairs. You will head into the basement and there will be these pots that you hide in. Hide into the pots and your screen will slowly fade to black. When it fades back in, you will see the Unclean One has moved downstairs and started cleaning his axe. Break out of the pot and kill him and you will get the alternate kill. Killing him this way gets you the Hammerhead's Ore, which can be used to turn into the Butcher's Flail, a melee weapon that when you charge its attack up, applies the corrosive effect. Just be careful when trying to get the kill on the Unclean One down in this room, because he has different attacks rather than what he does upstairs. For example, the majority of his attacks he will end up throwing his axe at the end of the attack, and the most important one, slam the ground, dealing damage to anyone inside the room. He will also throw his axe a lot more frequently down in this room. Now, the first boss, brand new to the game that was added within the Swamps of Corsus DLC, is the Barb Terror. The Barb Terror can be found within the Needle Lair, and this poor guy is pissed at the fact that the devs took away his legs, so he is now taking out his anger on you. You will fight him within the boss chamber called the Throne of Barbs, which is a fitting name for this place considering the fact that the entire room is full of needles that he will send at you, and if they hit you, apply the corrosive effect. While these needles are flying at you, the Barb Terror will also take a swing at you with his scythe. In killing this boss, you get the Barbed Sinew, which can be used to turn into the Unstable Quills mod. This unleashes a rapid burst of 12 quills, and hitting the mod button again allows you to detonate those quills, applying the corrosive effect. Another boss that you can stumble upon added with the DLC is the Dream Eater. You can find this boss within the Hall of Whispers inside the Corrupted Sanctum. This boss acts like the elites that you saw leading up to this boss fight. The only main difference is he will summon some of his clones to instead do the fighting for him. Some of these clones you can shoot at, but will launch a projectile at you, and if they come to contact with you, hurt you. Some of the other clones you are not able to shoot at, so you will just have to simply dodge them. Occasionally he will float up into the air and start channeling a attack. This attack, when it's fully charged, will insta-kill you, and finding him is the tough part considering he will summon some of his clones that you can kill. In killing this boss, you get the Luminous Gland, which can be turned into the Riftwalker mod, a mod that throws you into a rift for 2.8 seconds, leaving a clone behind, drawing aggro within 12.5 meters, and dealing 250 damage within 5.5 meters. The final boss added in the Swamps of Corsus DLC is the Theescull Queen. Upon entering her boss chamber for the first time, she will give you the Cryptolith Sigil, trying to convince you to turn away. This item allows you to interact with a tower that can spawn within all the worlds. Once you have interacted with that tower 3 times, you can get the Labyrinth Armor. If you decide not to leave the Theescull Queen alone after getting the Cryptolith Sigil, well, get ready for a fight. In the first phase, she will summon 2 waves of bugs that will come into contact with you, trying to apply the corrosive effect. After the 2 waves of bugs, the Queen will attempt to deal damage herself, bombarding the area in corrosion, and her most signature attack, glowing her wings. Now, in causing her wings to glow, it will mean 2 different things. Either she's going to deal damage on either side of her, and the only safe place be in the middle, or she will fake you out, raise her staff up, and then slam into the ground, dealing damage to anyone standing in the middle of the room. The last attack she can do in this phase is raise one of her hands, attaching a bug to your wrist. As soon as she snaps her fingers, you better start rolling because that's the only way you're going to be able to dodge this attack. To get the alternate kill on this boss, you need to pay attention to where the water is dripping in the room. As soon as she tries to phase transition, you have to stagger her and then quickly hit a stalactite that is hanging from the roof, causing it to impale on her. Killing her this way gets you the Theescull Husk, which can be turned into the Seeker mod, which summons a beetle that will rush towards enemies and explode, dealing 160 corrosive damage within 40 meters. If you don't go for the alternate kill, then get ready for the queen to tap dance all over your body. In killing her the normal way, you will get the crystalline plasma, which you can turn into the Pride of the Theescull, a secondary weapon that fires explosive rounds and comes with the mod Vampiric, which fires 4 beetles that will fly towards enemies within 10 meters, land on them, and steal 50 health over 5 seconds. Once full, they will fly back and heal you. The first boss in the Subject DLC that you can stumble on is Jimmy. Jimmy is the equivalent of the high school kid that constantly got picked on, shoved into his locker, who eventually grew his spine and decided to kick your ass. In all seriousness, the first boss that you can stumble on is Obrecht, the Shield Warden. This boss can be found within the Exile's Trench, and he loves to kick up as much snow as he can, blocking everyone's vision. The majority of his attacks, if they knock you to the ground, you will have a terrible time trying to get back up. In killing this boss, you get his bracelet, which can be used to turn into the Frozen Mist mod. This mod fires a projectile that deals 10 frost damage, releasing a freezing cloud that lasts 10 seconds and applies frostbite to enemies within 3 meters. It also applies 3 frostbite stacks on direct hit. Another boss you can stumble upon in this DLC is Urfor the Jackal. The Jackal can be found within the Wild Reach inside of his den, and essentially works like every other Yeti that you stumble upon in this world. He will kick up a crap ton of snow and leap and wildly flail at you until you force him to run away, calling some of his friends, some rats, to crawl into the arena. Careful with some of these rats because some of them have bombs attached to them, and this battlefield is particularly unstable because there are some wooden planks that are laid on the ground that if the rats explode upon those planks, they will create a gaping hole that will instantly kill you if you fall into it. Upon killing this boss, you get the Jackals Ivory, which you can turn into the Cold Spear mod. This throws an ice spear that deals 50 frost damage within 3.5 meters and applies 3 stacks of frostbite, and upon direct hit, instantly applies the frozen effect. Another boss you can stumble on is Tian The Assassin. You can find this boss within the Valenga mines. This boss will throw endless amounts of knives and, on rare occasion, get up close and personal while kicking you in the chest and also throw more knives at you, while also running throughout the arena trying to get some of his friends to come in and do his dirty work for him. In killing this boss, you get the Silver Fragment, which can be turned into the Fan of Knives mod. This throws a fan of 7 knives that deal 20 damage each and apply the bleeding effect, dealing 200 damage over 20 seconds. Another boss you can stumble upon is Icrow the Ice Conjurer. You can find this boss within the Wuthering Keep. This boss will cause ice to fall on the outer reaches of the battlefield in a clockwise rotation, while also summoning a sphere that will shoot projectiles at you until killed. Occasionally throughout the fight, he will summon some rats and become invulnerable to damage. Upon killing these rats, he will become vulnerable, allowing you to continue the fight with him. Upon killing this boss, you get the Glacial Scepter, which you can turn into the Blizzard mod. This casts a storm cloud that rains icicles as it travels forward up to 30 meters. These will deal 30 frost damage each and apply frostbite to enemies within 2 meters. Moving on to the world boss of the DLC is Broodfuck and his trusty steed, Varger. These two can be found within the Crimson Hold. Upon entering the boss chamber, Varger will attempt to murder you as Broodfuck watches from his steed's back. Occasionally, Varger will dig underground and tunnel after heroes while leaving Broodfuck on the surface to get up close and personal with his chainsword and gun. He will also attempt to bombard the area with explosives. Upon killing one of these bosses, you will trigger a cutscene, which the last living boss will rush to the other side and consume their body to gain some superpowers. If you keep Broodfuck alive, he will apply the burning effect with the majority of his attacks. If you keep Varger alive, he will apply the burning effect and the frozen effect. Regardless of whichever one you kill first, they will also heal up to 75% of their health. If you kill Varger first, you will get the Steel of Agony, which you can turn into the Chain Blade, which is currently the melee weapon that is being used against you. If you kill Broodfuck first, you will get the Cold Cell, which you can use to turn into the Alternator, which is a primary weapon. The final boss in the Remnant from the Ashes DLC is Harshguard. Harshguard can be fairly annoying, especially on your first attempt for him, because he essentially turns the battlefield into a bullet hell. The majority of his attacks will come from the crystals that rotate around him, but he will also do some attacks himself. The main attacks you need to worry about from the crystals is the giant laser beam, and when he slams them into the ground, there will be a laser grid that flows from one crystal to the other, and it will continue to expand out until it reaches the edge of the battlefield. He will also bombard whatever target he feels like prioritizing at the time with his own attacks. Another attack he can do is send out some waves of orbs, turning the battlefield into a bullet hell. Once you get him down to 50% health, he will decide to change tactics and get up close and personal. Every now and again, he will slam the ground and a small AoE will erupt around him. Defeating him in his first phase will get you the fusion rifle, which is a primary weapon. Now, phase 2 of the fight takes all the abilities and ramps them up to another whole new level. Pay attention to the arms floating in the background, because depending on which one activates first, he will either erupt a large AoE in the front of the battlefield, the center of the battlefield, or the back of the battlefield. If only one arm activates, he will only do it on one side of the room. The crystals that are floating in front of him still shoot out the laser beams, and he will still shoot out those orbs, turning the battlefield into a bullet hell. Be careful, because there are moments that when the orbs are coming out, the arms are active as well, forcing you to dodge orbs while also staying to one side of the battlefield. If you do wipe on this boss, just interact with one of the orbs in Ward Prime that turned you into the Upside Down realm, and that will allow you to interact with the portal getting back to this boss. You will sadly have to do the first phase of this fight over again. Upon entering the second phase, you will also be forced to use the fusion rifle whenever you come back to this fight. In killing Harshguard, you get the Root Neoplasm, which you can turn into the World's Edge, which is a melee weapon that acts like the hero's sword. And that is all the bosses from all the DLCs. Sorry this video took a while to get out, I've been pretty busy. If you're interested in more videos or still curious on what else there is to unlock in this game, my friend Lord Seco Dingo has a few videos over on his channel. I'll be sure to post a link to his channel down below. Hope this video was as helpful as the last one. If not, feel free to dislike it, and I'll see you all around. Stay safe out there.